Welcome back to Echoes of Ihsan. We'd love to just jump right into these fascinating stories from Islamic history.
Oh, absolutely.
So today, we're diving into Sahih al-Bukhari,
Okay.
specifically Book 57. It's all about the companions of the Prophet Muhammad.
Fascinating stuff. You really get a sense of those earliest days of Islam.
Exactly. I mean, imagine, just for a second, getting to hear these stories from the people who lived through it,
Live alongside the Prophet, yeah.
witness the Quran being revealed. It's just incredible.
Absolutely incredible. Those individuals, what they did still shapes the world today.
Right. So powerful. Okay, so let's get right to it, shall we? Hadiths 1, 2, and 3, right off the bat, kind of set the stage. They talk about the Prophet's view of the generations of Muslims to come after him.
And what's interesting is it's not all sunshine and roses. He doesn't predict some kind of perfect future.
It's true, he actually warns.
Yeah, he warns about
Yeah.
challenges.
About things like dishonesty becoming more common, breaking oaths, people just not being as righteous as they were in his time.
Like a cautionary tale, almost.
It does feel that way. Like he's acknowledging that as a community grows, things change. There's going to be tests.
Makes you think, doesn't it?
It really does. And it makes those who are closest to him, the companions, stand out even more.
Oh, absolutely. Because he makes a point of saying how righteous his generation was, how close they were to the faith.
Sets a high bar, for sure.
And that's a powerful message for any generation of Muslims that follows. Like, hey, preserving the faith takes real work.
Constant vigilance,
Yeah.
right?
Okay, but speaking of examples, let's talk about Abu Bakr. Right there in Hadiths 4 and 5, you get that dramatic story of the Hijrah.
The Prophet and Abu Bakr, fleeing persecution, hiding in a cave.
Pursuers right on their heels, the stakes could not be higher.
And in that moment, Abu Bakr's faith is just incredible.
Oh, it's unshakable. He's scared, of course. He says to the Prophet, I fear they will see you.
Terrified for the Prophet's safety.
Mm.
But the Prophet, he just says, don't be afraid, Allah is with us.
So powerful. That trust, that reliance on God, it's a core theme in Islam.
And their bond. Just think, they're hiding in this cave, facing such danger.
The trust is absolute.
It's a moment that really defines their relationship. And it's just the beginning for Abu Bakr.
Mm-hmm.
In those next few hadiths, numbers 6 through 10, we see how much the Prophet loved him.
Deep affection. He calls Abu Bakr his closest companion, his confidant. Time and time again, chooses him for important tasks.
He even tells a woman, if you can't find me, go to Abu Bakr.
It's like saying he's my right hand. That level of trust in that society, that's huge.
Right, because back then, tribal loyalty was everything. But their bond, it went beyond all that. It was about their shared faith, their vision for what Islam could be.
You can't help but wonder what qualities in Abu Bakr inspired that kind of trust in the Prophet.
His unwavering faith, his ability to just get what the Prophet was teaching. It makes you want to study him even more closely, doesn't it?
It really does. We talk about those qualities, and Abu Bakr's steadfastness really shines through. But there's another companion whose story just grabs you.
You're thinking of Umar.
Omar ibn al-Khattab. Talk about a transformation. He starts out opposed to the Prophet.
And then becomes one of his strongest supporters. It's amazing.
Yeah, and you see a bit of that fire in him in Hadith 13. He's actually arguing with
Abu Bakr, can you imagine?
It kind of shows you their personalities, both strong-willed. But what's really amazing about Umar is he changes. He repents for his harsh words, wants to make things right.
It's a good reminder that people can change.
Oh, absolutely. And Umar, he doesn't just change, he becomes this pillar of the Muslim community.
Justice, piety, just a model of what it means to be a Muslim.
And the Prophet, he sees this potential in Umar. Like in Hadith 16 and 25, there's this dream.
A dream.
Yeah, where the Prophet sees Umar drawing water for everyone. Now, in their culture, dreams were super symbolic.
So what does drawing water mean?
It's about providing, taking care of people. So the Prophet, he's seeing Umar's future, basically.
As a leader.
Exactly. And sure enough, Umar becomes the second caliph, leading the Muslims through this huge period of growth.
Expansion, bringing people together.
His leadership, it just resonated with people. And you get a sense of why in Hadiths 32 and 33.
What do those say?
Umar, he's portrayed as straightforward, even bold enough to sometimes challenge the Prophet himself.
Wow. Serious.
But always for the good of the community. He's not afraid to speak his mind, but it's always with good intentions.
It's that honesty plus that deep care for everyone that people really responded to.
Exactly. So we have Abu Bakr, the trusted one, and Umar, the strong leader. But then there's Uthman ibn Affan, and his story is just different.
Different how?
Well, right from the start, in Hadiths 23 and 42, there's this prediction about him.
A prediction. Like a prophecy.
Yeah, the prophet says that Uthman will face a major trial, even though he's destined for paradise.
It's kind of ominous, isn't it? Like, even being close to the prophet doesn't mean you're spared from hardship.
And knowing what we know from Islamic history, it becomes even more meaningful. Because Uthman, he would eventually face huge challenges as caliph, internal conflicts, opposition,
It ultimately led to his assassination, right?
a tragic end. It just shows you the complexities of leadership, how even within a community of faith, there can be struggle.
But before all that, those earlier hadiths, what do they tell us about Uthman himself?
Well, Hadith 45 shows us his strong sense of justice. He's questioned about something he did, but he's firm, like, I'm just doing what the prophet taught.
A man of principle.
Exactly. He wasn't afraid to stand up for what he believed was right, even when others questioned him.
Makes you think about how tough it can be to stay true to your convictions.
Hmm.
Okay, so we've got Abu Bakr, known for his faith, Umar, the leader, and Uthman, who was tested by trials. What about Ali, the prophet's own cousin and son-in-law?
Ali ibn Abi Talib, another incredible figure. And right away, in Hadith 51 and 52, you see him as this skilled warrior, a brave leader.
The prophet actually gives Ali the flag in battle. It's significant, right?
Hugely. The flag, it's the heart of the army, the rallying point. The prophet is saying, I trust you to lead.
And Ali delivers, achieving victory. It speaks volumes about their relationship. But there's another hadith, number 53, that's more personal. It talks about the nickname the prophet gave to Ali.
Abu Turab. It means father of dust.
Father of dust. That's an interesting nickname. How did he get that?
Ali was found sleeping in the mosque once with dust on his back. It kind of showed his simple lifestyle, his humility.
It's kind of endearing, actually.
It shows that close bond, that affection beyond just family ties. Okay, so we've focused on some of the big names, but Book 57, it's full of stories of other companions, all contributing in their own ways.
Right. Each one adds to the story of early Islam. It's like a tapestry with all these different threads.
And each thread has its own unique story to tell.
So many fascinating individuals, right?
Yeah.
We've talked about Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, Ali, but there's so much more to uncover in Book 57.
Oh, absolutely. Each story, it adds a new dimension to our understanding of that time.
It's like each companion, they brought something unique to the table, right?
Their skills, their personalities, it all contributed to the growth of the Muslim community.
Exactly. Like a mosaic, all these pieces coming together to create something beautiful. And speaking of unique stories, Hadith 75 introduces us to Abu al as bin Arabi. Now, he was one of the Prophet's sons-in-law.
Fascinating story. The Prophet's daughters, their marriages, they were super important strategically.
Oh, for sure. Building alliances, spreading the message of Islam. Way more than just personal relationships back then.
Exactly. And Abu al-Aris, he was married to Zainab, the Prophet's eldest daughter. But here's the thing.
What's that?
Their marriage, it predates Islam.
Wow, really? So they were together before the Prophet even received his revelation.
Yep. And what's amazing is the Prophet still held him in high regard, even before he became Muslim. Like in Hadith 75 and 76, he praises Abu al-Az's honesty, his trustworthiness.
It shows you that character mattered, regardless of faith.
Totally. The Prophet saw the good in people, even if they weren't part of the Muslim community yet.
Respecting people for who they were, essentially. Okay, so we have Abu al-Az, who eventually converts. But Hadith 76 also mentions another son-in-law from the Bani Abdisham's tribe, and he was already a Muslim.
Oh, you're talking about Ali, remember. Married to Fatima, the Prophet's youngest daughter.
Ali, of course, the brave warrior, the future caliph.
But this hadith, it hints at a little bit of drama, you know?
Wow.
It mentions that at one point, Ali was actually interested in marrying the daughter of Abu Jahl.
Hold on, Abu Jahl. Wasn't he one of the Prophet's biggest opponents?
Yeah, a staunch enemy of Islam. So you can imagine how that went over.
Fatima must have been pretty upset.
She was. She went to the Prophet, expressed her concerns, and the Prophet, he addressed it publicly. He said, the daughter of Allah's apostle and the daughter of Allah's enemy just couldn't be wives of the same man.
Wow, strong statement.
Right. He's putting his foot down. It shows how important unity was in the early Muslim community.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Can't have those internal conflicts, especially back then when they were just getting established.
Right. So ultimately, Ali marries Fatima. Makes sense, strengthens the bond between them, solidifies the community.
And their children, Hassan and Hussein.
They go on to play huge roles in Islamic history themselves. Okay, but let's move on to another interesting figure. Usama ibn Zayd.
Usama. Now, his father was Zayd ibn Haritha, right?
Yeah.
The Prophet's adopted son.
Exactly. And Usama's story kind of gets into the whole idea of lineage, how important it was back then.
Okay, so how does lineage play into it?
Well, in Hadith 78, there's this guy, a kaif, someone who's an expert in recognizing lineage. He sees Usama and his father, Zayd, sleeping, and he says, "These feet, they belong to people of the same lineage."
Meaning they're related by blood.
Yeah. And the Prophet, he overhears this and he's pleased.
It's like, even though Zayd was adopted, the Prophet considered him a true son. And this confirmation of their shared lineage, it meant something socially.
It's a beautiful thing. It shows how the Prophet valued their bond beyond just the legal aspect of adoption.
Okay, but you mentioned that lineage was also a factor in some controversy surrounding Usama. What happened?
Well, the Prophet appointed Usama to lead an army.
To lead an army.
And some people, they weren't happy about it. They thought he was too young, too inexperienced for such a big responsibility.
So it wasn't about his lineage this time, it was about his age.
Yeah. But the Prophet, he defends Usama fiercely. He says, you criticized his father too, but they're both worthy. He saw the potential in Usama, the qualities of leadership that were already there.
Trusting his instincts like he did with Abu Bakr.
Exactly. And, beyond the battlefield, Usama also had this unique relationship with the Prophet.
What do you mean?
Hadith 79 tells us that Usama was often the only one who would intercede with the Prophet on behalf of others.
Really? What made him so bold while others hesitated?
It seems like he had this special closeness with the Prophet, this trust that allowed him to approach him even on sensitive matters.
Okay, so give me an example.
There was this woman from the Bani Makhzumiyya tribe accused of theft. Everyone else was afraid to speak to the Prophet on her behalf.
Scared of his judgment, maybe? Or maybe just the social stigma of defending someone accused of theft.
But Usama, he goes to the Prophet, driven by compassion and a sense of justice.
Wow, so he sticks his neck out for this woman.
And the Prophet, he listens. He makes sure her case is dealt with fairly.
Justice for all, that's a core principle in Islam.
Exactly. Leaders have a responsibility to be fair, to protect everyone's rights. So you see in Usama this young leader navigating those complexities of lineage and authority, but also showing that courage and compassion.
It's amazing how these stories all connect, right? We've got Abu al-Az, who was respected for his character even before becoming Muslim, and Usama demonstrating that even young people can step up and do the right thing.
Yeah, each story adds another layer to our understanding. Okay, before we wrap up, we should talk about Abdullah ibn Umar.
Abdullah, he was Umar's son, right?
Yeah. And Hadith 82, it simply says, the merits of Abdullah bin Umar bin al-Khattab. It's like an invitation to delve deeper into his life.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What made him stand out?
Abdullah, he was known for his piety, his depth knowledge of Islamic law. He was dedicated to learning from the Prophet's teachings and passing them on to others.
So like following in his father's footsteps, upholding justice, but also becoming a scholar in his own right.
Exactly. A link between the Prophet's generation and those who came after. In Hadith 83, it talks about a dream Abdullah had when he was young, this powerful dream that really shaped his path, his commitment to prayer and piety.
Shows you how personal experiences can impact our faith, right?
For sure. And Abdullah, he wasn't just focused on his own spirituality. He played a key role in preserving those teachings of the Prophet, making sure they were accurately understood by future generations.
Like a guardian of that knowledge, protecting it from being lost or distorted.
Exactly. And then you have Hadith 84, where the Prophet calls Abdullah a pious man. Simple, but powerful. It's recognition of his sincere devotion.
Is beautiful, really. Well, as we wrap up our deep dive into Book 57, we've encountered some incredible people. Abu Bakr, with his unwavering faith, Umar, the strong leader, Uthman, who faced those trials, Ali, the warrior and scholar,
And Az-Zubair, known for his bravery. Talha, who always stood firm. Saad, the skilled archer. Usama, who was so bold and compassionate. Abu al-Az, respected even before he became Muslim. And Abdullah ibn Umar, dedicated to preserving the Prophet's teachings.
each one leaving their mark on history. It's been a journey exploring their lives, seeing how they helped shape early Islam.
And what's amazing is they were just human beings like us. They had their flaws, their struggles. But their commitment to the Prophet, to building a just and compassionate community, it's inspiring.
It really is. It reminds us that we can all make a difference no matter who we are or what our circumstances are. So as we conclude this episode, I want to leave you with a question. If you could ask one of these companions just one question, what would it be?
It's a question worth pondering, for sure. What wisdom would you seek from those who live through such extraordinary times?
And remember, this is just a small taste of what Sahih al-Bukhari has to offer. Keep exploring, keep learning, and keep discovering those hidden gems of Islamic history.
Until next time, may we all continue to be inspired by the stories of these incredible individuals.
Thank you for joining us.